Welcome back, Menopause Energized 30-day Healthy Heart Marathon. We are on day number 15. Hey, welcome back. This is Sheila, registered nurse and health coach with Menopause Energized. And we are on day number 15 today. Today we're talking about menopause and exercise equals a healthy heart. And you can go back and catch up on the interviews. We're doing this in parts. And today this is going to be part 4. So I want to just talk to you about, before I go into the exercise regimen, I want to give you some precautions here for when you're exercising, when you get ready to start off your exercise routine. For some of us, this may be catching back up. For some of us, it may that we're already in this routine. So this may be more for video for some of us that have kind of slacked on our exercise. Again, cardiovascular risk is cardiovascular disease is the number one killer in women, and the risk is higher in the menopausal period because of the dive of the estrogen level. So precautions to take before you start putting yourself on an exercise regimen. Really, you should check with your physician what type of exercise regimen you should be on. If you're healthy, not much is a problem, but you should always check. But really, for the ones that do have already health issues like diabetes, any type of heart condition, you should always check with your doctor what type of regimen you should be on. Warm-up exercises. Never go straight out and exercise. You will have an injury like that. I talked about that yesterday, how I had my injury back in my high school days where my track teacher just had us just start running with no warm-up exercises at all, and I wound up pulling a muscle in my hip that I know before I really felt like it was really back to where it was like years later. So always warm up exercises. We'll talk about that in a few minutes. Hydration before and after. You should hydrate yourself before you exercise, and you should hydrate yourself after you exercise, especially if you're exercising in very warm weather. Water is not the only thing you should be taking in. You should be taking in also fluid that has electrolytes in it, like sodium, potassium, because when you sweat, you lose that through your pores. So things like people use Powerade, Gatorade, especially now there's Gatorade Zero for people that are diabetic and they don't want the sugar. Gatorade, I think it's Zero Gatorade is what they call it. But you should be replenish yourself with more than just water. Do not exercise right after a heavy meal. It is too much strain on the heart. Yes, you want to give the heart some TLC, but you don't want to give it that much TLC. So it's too much strain on the heart. So you should never exercise after a heavy meal. You should pretty much wait for about 2 hours, maybe even 3 hours before you decide you want to exercise after a heavy meal. What you can do, if you've already had a meal, but you still need something to eat, eating a small snack that's rich in protein and carbs can help. It's not a heavy meal. It's just eating a snack in between your meals that's high, especially high in protein, and that's fine. And then you really should, even when you eat that small snack, wait about 20 minutes to do your exercise. And this really goes for really too, when you're doing those really strenuous exercise, like the jog, and you don't eat a heavy meal from the table, say Thanksgiving dinner, and then say, hey, Mom, I'm going out to jog. That's a no-no. And then you want to get back into your routine. If you have slack, you want to get back into your routine slowly. When you're used to exercising, you know where your pinpoint is. But when you're trying to gradually get back into it, say if you haven't exercised in 6 months, don't go right out there and just jog 30, 40, an hour right off the bat. You gently work your way up into the exercise regimen. You don't go right off and doing strenuous exercises when you haven't done it in 6 months. That, again, will put a strain on your heart. While walking, always monitor yourself for chest pain, dizziness, palpitations, and when I say shortness of breath, we get short of breath when we walk, jog, or run briskly, but I'm talking about severe shortness of breath that's not normal. Anytime you have those symptoms, this is what happens when we get people in the emergency room. Please don't push it. If you feel those symptoms, you stop and you get a rest and you take some breaths. Do not continue to go on if you have those symptoms. And then you want to alternate between high intensity and low intensity exercises. And we're going to talk about that in a few minutes. And then when you finish your exercise, you just don't want to just stop out of nowhere. You want to cool yourself down. So if you are on a brisk walk, you want to just start walking more slowly. Or if you're jogging, you want to go into the brisk walking and then slow down your walking. You don't just want to abruptly stop your strenuous exercises. Slow yourself down, cool yourself down. And again, back to what I said before, when you get wherever you're going to get your drinks, you need to hydrate yourself afterwards. And let me see what else I have here. Okay, we're going to get to that in a second. We're going to get to now the schedule I was telling you about yesterday, how you should switch your exercises. And you can modify this any way you want because you may not always start on a Monday. I'm just giving you a baseline. You may start on a Wednesday. So you take it from here and go down. But you can modify this. But I'm just starting from a Monday. So Monday, you want to start off doing cardio, moderate exercising, 30 to 40 minutes, maybe like some cycling or brisk walking. Tuesday, you want to do strengthening exercises. You want to rotate. Everybody's got their own schedule, but if you don't want to tire your muscles out. And we talked about the strength training, the squats, the push-ups, the resistor bands, the weights. Now, I'm just doing this for people that are not used to exercising and is in pretty good shape. You got athletes out there that's not going to go by this. They got their own routine. But I'm talking about for the menopausal woman that has not really kept up with the exercise and would like to get back in routine. This is what this is for. This is for us women in our menopausal years where we're struggling with a lot of stuff. But this is for the menopausal women's routine. A regular athlete is not going to go by this schedule. Wednesday, you want to do your flexibility and balancing exercises. And with that, again, it's the yoga, the Pilates, the chair yoga Pilates. So you want to do those. And again, those are also good warm-up exercises for when you go out. I thought I had my resisted bands here, but we all know what they look like. They're those little bands that you pull out like this. And they're really good because they'll strengthen up your arms. You can sit down on the floor and put them in between your leg and stretch this way. They're really good for strengthening training and getting your muscles ready. So if you don't have those, you might want to own a pair of the elastic strengthening bands. And you know, we can buy everything on Amazon now. I'm not surprised we can't even buy a house on Amazon now, but you can buy everything. So they're sold on Amazon. And then we go back to, so we were on Wednesday, then we go back to Thursday. We go back to cardio, but you're going to pick the speed up a little bit. This again, menopausal women. You're going, or anybody that wants to get back in the routine, women that want to get back, because you know men got their, they're going to do their own thing in their mind. This is again, menopausal women are just women that has not got back into the routine of exercising. Thursday, the cardio is going to be more vigorous. So you're going to do a little bit more than brisk walking that we talked about here. You're going to jog a little bit. And you don't have to start right off jogging fast at all. You're just going to pick up on your jogging. And then you're going to do some, I love dance aerobics. Matter of fact, I do have a spiritual ministry where I do a lot of my dancing. And I do a lot of dancing in different churches and stuff and for events. I love dancing. That's just one of my passions that I like, besides the teaching, of course. And then, so Friday, it's going to be the strength training again. Nothing different. You're still going to go back to, I'm going to take it back, the strength training. You're still going to go back to the squats, the push-ups, the resistor bands. And I didn't mention the weights. Weights as well. Again, do not start off with heavy weights. I still only lift 5 pounds. I know some people say only 5 pounds, but yes, because you can injure yourself with weights. Do not try to do what everybody else do. And if you want, start off with the 1 pound, work your way up to the 2 pounds and 5. I don't go any higher than that, but you want to do the weights as well for strength training. And the only thing that's different is that strength training helps to get your core and your legs and posture in good shape. So you want to do your strength training on Thursday, I'm sorry, on Friday. Then Saturday, basically just active recovery. All you want to do maybe on Saturday is just do some stretching exercises, basically. Remember, the American Heart Association said 150 minutes, so that's 30 minutes a day, and for 5 days. So you can take any one of these 5 days. It don't have to be Saturday that you do the stretching. You modify this to your schedule. I'm just giving you a baseline. So on Saturday, just some active recovery. Sunday, this is not what the American Heart Association stated. This is Sheila's thing. Do whatever you want. That's for Sunday, or whatever day you decide to take that break. Food things to remember. Again, eat light snack and hydrate before you're exercising, and then you go ahead and do your warm-up. And all this will be on a PDF. If you don't mind signing up below for it, I'll put all this in the PDF for you, and you'll have that to keep with you at your side. Or you can always refer back to the video, but I will have the PDF for you to click on to get that. But you want to eat your light snack and hydrate before exercising. Then you want to go ahead and do your warm-ups, and that's the warm-ups where the elastic bands will help with that. The chair Pilates, anything that helps to stretch your body a little bit. You never want to overstretch. So with me not going into specifics, since I'm not an exercise teacher or anything like that, there are really good videos on YouTube to show you how to stretch, to show you how to do the Pilates, to show you how to do the chair Pilates. They are the gurus. I'm not that. I'm just giving you the basics. But you go on YouTube and look for those good programs that will teach you how to do your stretching and all the exercises that I mentioned here. I try to stay in my lane. I'm a registered nurse, try to teach about what I know. Cardiac is my specialty. That's why I stay up, but I'm by no means an exercise guru. And then let's see. So after you do your main workout, let's start from the beginning. Eat light snack, do your warm up, go to your main workout, whichever that is. If you're starting off with the cardio, you go to that. Then again, cool down and stretch, like we talked about. And again, your hydration and your nutrition. You may want to get a snack after you done your exercising, or well, maybe you haven't had dinner yet, and so you may want to have your dinner. Again, you wait till you cool down afterwards before you eat your dinner. You don't have to wait 2 or 3 hours, nothing like that, but just cool down before you just rush right into eating something. And then there's that recovery. You just recover from it. Like I said, you cool down and stretch, hydration, nutrition, and just relax after that. The warning signs again. Do not exercise right after a heavy meal. That is a strain on the heart. You wonder why sometimes people have heart issues after they exercise. This is the reason why they don't take the precautions. So you wait 2 to 3 hours after you eat a heavy meal. And then keep an eye on your heart rate. It should come down within 5 to 10, maybe 15 minutes back to normal. And for some reason you still see your heart rate up over 100, say like an hour from the time you have finished your exercise, sometimes it's due to that you're out of shape and you have not exercised in a long time and your heart is not used to that. You will find your heart rate up a little higher. But if there is continuous problem with that, you really need to check with the doctor to see what you need to do to modify your exercise routine. But your heart rate from about 5 to 10, everybody's going to be a little different, maybe some 15 or 20, depending on how much you exercise. Like I said, if you have not exercised in 6 months and you start this off, your heart's not used to it, so your heart rate may be up just a little bit longer. And that is all we're going to talk about today for the exercise. Like I said, I didn't want to get into a whole lot because I'm not a guru for exercise. I just wanted to give the basics. So the next time you see me, we're going to start going into nutrition. Again, like, share, comment, and subscribe so you can keep up to date on the tips and insights that we give away here at Menopause Energized. And I believe we'll be going into day 16. So, again, as I always say, take care of your heart. See you next time.